One of my favorite authors, Aldous Huxley, he says in one of his essays that all simple truths may not be profound, but all profound truths are simple. The statement gives rise to a question that is at once simple and profound. That is, if all profound truths are simple, then what is it that prevents us from fully perceiving them? It appears that the culprit is familiarity. Because we are familiar with simple truths, they start to appear obvious to us. And because they are obvious, we stop looking beyond, or we stop looking at them. More precisely put, we stop looking beyond their outer surface. We forget that there could be deeper layers of significance hidden beneath. Here's a metaphor I once wrote to elaborate upon this idea. That Buddha sits across the hall. He holds a lit candle in his hand. But of this light that he wishes to share with me, I can see only a dim flicker. Because there lie between Buddha and me 7 translucent curtains of share. The benevolent Buddha even inquires in concern whether I can see the light. And I, ignorant of my ignorance, answer in the affirmative. Buddha smiles and does nothing further to help me. Then time goes by and a day comes when one of the curtains falls. And all of a sudden I can see the light a bit more clearly. Then more time goes by, more curtains fall and more clarity ensues till finally all the curtains have fallen. And I can see the light in its complete splendor. I become one with the Buddha. Now, yes, what I'm trying to say here is that you and I could be looking at the same truth. But you could have advanced to curtain number 6 and I could be still stuck at curtain number 2. So even though we are talking about the same thing, we could be having widely different perspectives. Another way to look at this is that when it comes to the essential truths of our lives, most of us seem to know them all. But what we know, that is usually just a dim flicker of its original self. And I guess that is the reason we find these truths unsatisfactory for daily consumption and enlightenment, in fact. And that is the reason we are forever hunting for new truths. Do we find these new truths? Rarely. Because they are hiding at a very unlikely hiding place. They are hiding beneath the surface of the truths which we already know. Allow me to illustrate with the help of an example. Let's take a simple and profound truth and let's try to get to its inner layers. For the sake of convenience, let's pick a truth that is familiar to most of us. Let's say something like, you have the right over your deeds, but you have no right over the fruits of those deeds. Familiar? Okay. So as we can see, that is a simple enough truth, makes eminent sense on the surface, and therefore most of us tend to leave it at that. But let's try to throw some light on this truth from different angles, and let's see if we can get a curtain to fall. Angle number 1, energy. Well, it's widely believed that when it comes to physical, mental, and emotional energy, their sources are interconnected. Draining one will drain the other. So let's say you've been holding back some strong emotion for some time. In this condition, you won't be able to do as many push-ups as you normally do. Okay, then, when we know that we have a limited supply of physical, mental, and emotional energy, and we know that these energies are interlinked, interconnected, doesn't plain common sense dictate that we use this limited supply on the deed rather than brooding on the fruit? Say you're playing a game of tennis. You could use your energy to keep your eyes on the ball and getting your footwork right and getting your loading correct, or you could use this energy in thinking about what happens if you get that shot wrong. Which one is beneficial? You know it. Angle number 2 about deeds and fruits. Changing perspective. Now, if you were to look back upon your life with a little bit more of awareness and attention, you'll realize that the fruit usually doesn't affect you as greatly as you initially thought it would. Think about it. Good or bad, everything fades. Then, if you really haven't enjoyed that long journey towards your overrated fruit, towards your overrated destination, that's a lot of time wasted. And time is what life is made up of. Deeds again, not fruit. Angle 3. Uncertainty in the cause-effect relationship. Now you see, the universe is a superposition of many, many forces. Also, the universe is not anthropocentric, which is to say that the comfort and well-being of Homo sapiens is not the primary purpose of the universe. The universe simply goes about its everyday task dispassionately. And if one of your deeds gets entangled in one of these everyday forces of the universe, or gets entangled in someone else's trajectory, and thus doesn't result in the sort of outcome you had anticipated, so be it. Then to always being the catchword here, to always hope for a specific outcome to a certain action may not be such a wise or practical thing to do. Yes, you're allowed to believe that deed A will often result in fruit B. But we must also remember that there are no guarantees. Look back upon your life. You'll realize that many, or rather most of your life-changing decisions, they were generously peppered with a lot of chaos and coincidence. So much for deed and fruit and cause and effect. Interestingly, this non-deterministic aspect of deed and fruit, this lack of guarantee in the deed-fruit connect, this is validated by quantum physics as well. Now, the physicist Murray Gell-Mann, he says that in quantum mechanics, everything not forbidden is compulsory. That is, all the events which are not disallowed by some laws of conservation, they are all possible. And it's only the probabilities that change depending upon initial conditions. What he's basically saying is that the connect between cause and effect is probabilistic. It's not definite. And as if that were not enough, in quantum mechanics now, along with the Copenhagen interpretation and the many worlds interpretation, we now have something known as the theory of circular cause and effect. That is, the effect affects the cause that caused it. Deeds and fruits. Like, we could go on about deeds and fruits, but since we have to end somewhere, let's end with the author, Ellis Perrin. Perrin was a British author who spent a lot of time in India, and the reason I mentioned Perrin is because when she talks about cause and effect, deeds and fruits, she does so in a beautifully nuanced and subtle manner. Of course, she acknowledges causality, but not in the way a physicist would talk about cause and effect. Her causality is the religious philosophism of a latent Indianness, which proclaims effects as propinquitous upon the doer as well as others. Yes, what you do to others affects you too in a very real and profound manner. So you see, when we look at cause and effect, deeds and fruits from different angles and stances, the simple truth from the Gita starts to unravel just a little bit and starts to give us a glimpse of its inner layers. And if we are lucky, a curtain falls. Let's hang on to our simple truths then. Let's not abandon them as cliché. In all probability, the surface is all we've scraped. Thank you.